Hello folks, welcome to my channel. My name is Rahul and I'm an engineer working in software development for a few years now. So this is my first tutorial upload and this is going to be part of a tutorial series on new Java features. In this series, we'll take a look at the new JPs included since JDK 11, which directly improve developer productivity and increases ease of the development. As you all must may be aware that Java has moved on to a new release cycle, and now uh, we get a new JDK release in every 6 months, and in every 3 years we also get a long-term support release. So in this video we'll take a look at JP 358, which is helpful null pointer exceptions. So let's just go and take a look at the JP. So here it is. So this is JP 358, which is helpful null pointer exceptions. So as you can all see, this has been released as part of JDK 14, and the goal of this JP is to improve the usability of null pointer exceptions generated by JVM by describing precisely which variable was null. So as we all know, null pointer exceptions are integral and frustrating part of Java and source of many bugs. So whenever we encounter these null pointer exceptions, the exception stack trace contains only the line number where the exception was thrown, but it doesn't ever tell you that which field or object or variable caused was null, so the exception was caused. So this JP is targeted to fix this issue, and it has been delivered as part of Java code 14. So let's dive into the code and see how this helps us. Okay, so I have a Gradle project ready. So the source compatibility is Java version 14, and I have a main class, and I have already have a package ready which says JB358. So we'll create a new Java class in this. I'll call it helpful null pointer exceptions. So here we have created a new class. So let's create a class which contains a field. So this class will help us to create the nested causes for null pointer exceptions. So I'll create a private class here. I'll call it string wrapper, and I'll create a string inside this call with the name content. So I'll say private final string, and this is content. Let's generate a constructor for this. Here it is. We have the constructor for this now. Now let's go in the class and create a few methods which throws the null pointer exceptions. So we'll create first method, we call it demo1. Now let's create a string wrapper object, string wrapper, and we'll call it wrapper, and let's initialize it with null. And what we'll do is we'll print the length of the content in this string wrapper. So let's go and do this. So we'll say demo1 length of content is, let's call it content, and here we'll print out the length. So I'll say wrapper dot content dot length. Okay, and if we face any exception, which we obviously will, then we'll print the stack trace of the exception. So here uh, we have this ready. Now we'll create another method So now we'll create another method with a different field set as null. So we'll create a method, we'll call it demo2, and here we'll create a new string wrapper. We'll again call it wrapper is equals to new string wrapper, and we'll initialize it with null. So if you notice, this time the content is null instead of the wrapper object. So now we'll do the same thing. We'll again print out this. We'll say it's demo2, length of the content is, we'll go ahead and we'll print the wrapper dot content dot length. We'll cache the exceptions, and we'll simply print this stack trace. That's it there. Now we have our methods ready with the caught exceptions. All we have to do now is call these methods. So I have my main class known as which I named as JP tester. So what I'll do here is I'll create an object of helpful null pointer exception, and I'll print the demo1. So okay, let's use the new keyword and say demo1. Let's call the another one and call it demo2. That's it then. Now let's go and build our project. So we'll go to the terminal, and I think I have the build command ready. So I'll say gradle. So it's a gradle command with the gradle wrapper. So I'll say gradle clean build. So let's wait for the build to complete. Okay, so the build is successful now. So clear the screen and run the Gradle project. Okay, so if you see here, the first time it says helpful the null pointer exception, and it has been thrown on line number 13. And the second time also it says the null pointer exception, but on line number 23. So now let's and these exceptions are thrown from the helpful null pointer exception class. So let's go and visit the line number 13 and 23. So if we go there and if we go here, so there it is, the line number 13, and then we have line number 23. Now if you see, even if when you're debugging the code, it's not clear that which variable or field through was null here. So it could be wrapper which can be null, it could be content which can be null, and if you have a method call here, let's say we have some method which is for example a rest call, then which is for example I guess rest call could be one example. So rest call or any other call some library. So you don't know that uh, and which does some unexpected behavior, and so then you don't know that whether your wrapper is null, whether your content is null. And this could be even more frustrating when you face this in a production environment where you cannot even debug properly. So for such cases, this JEP 358 which we have seen is really useful. So if you see, we are already using the Java 14. If I show you the Java version, Java version is already Java 14. So why are we not getting this um, this helpful null pointer exception? So for this, the reason is that this null pointer exception feature is as of now sit behind a feature toggle. So if we go and see the Jira for the bug for this for this feature. So here somewhere around here it says that it's yes, the feature can be toggled with the new boolean command line option, show details in exception message. So this option will first have a default false, so that message not printed. It is intended to enable code details in exception message by default in later releases. So by later releases, it means the Java 15 is going to enable this feature by default. So you can see there is another bug related to this, and so another issue related to this. And if we see it's in progress and its fixed version is 15, it says enable code details in exception messages per default. So for now we'll see how we can enable this. So for this, let's go up again and let's check. So here it is. So we just simply need to add a JVM argument hyphen XX plus show code details in exception messages. So in Gradle we can do this by one single line. So here is my build file. I already have this commented. I'll simply just uncomment it. Okay, that's it then. And I need to compile it, I guess. Let's just run it again. So we'll only say Gradle run. Okay, it looks like we need to compile it again. Based on the switch, it might change the bytecode which is generated. So let's just compile it again. It will be compiled faster now, as the subsequent compilation in Gradle are faster. So let's run this again. Okay, it looks like still not working. It's still not telling us that where it faced the issue. So let's go in the build file. Yes, we have not saved the build file. And is there anything which we need to save here? It doesn't look like. Yes. So these are the comment we added. Let's remove the comment. It's not needed as of now. So let's save it. Now we have saved everything. Now go back to the terminal. Again, we'll build it. So it will be faster. And let's just run it. This should work now. Yes, so as you can see, now the null pointer message, it contains the proper information. It says cannot read field content because wrapper is null. So when you go into the code, you can simply check, okay, the wrapper is null, so that's why we are getting a null pointer exception. In the next exception trace, it says cannot invoke string.length. The method cannot be invoked because wrapper.content is null. So if you see, this message also changes based on the action you are trying to perform. When you are invoking a method, it says cannot invoke. When you're reading a field, it says cannot read. So there are multiple messages based on that, which you can find in the JEP description. So let's check the code again. And so yeah, we cannot invoke the length method because the content is null. So that's how you can take the leverage or benefit of the helpful null pointer exception. Okay, so this is all about the helpful null pointer exceptions. um, So this, as I mentioned earlier, this will be enabled by default in Java 15. So I hope you like this video. Please leave your comments with feedback, and see you all in the next video. Thank you.